Okay, so we're kind of thinking about, we just saw a video about attraction, and specifically, it was a sociology class where the professor kind of presented data about Asian males being less desirable than males of other races. Um when holding other factors the same. Do you want to recap that?
Yeah, yeah, he was talking about dating preferences in that aspect, and during the lecture, he um he asked the class to point out like a handsome Asian male classmate and a handsome white male classmate. So once people did that, he brought them both up and kind of presented data from dating websites.
Yeah, and
And
he said
he,
for them to be of equal desirability,
Mhm,
the Asian male would have to make like $250,000 more.
mhm.
And he asked some women in the audience, but they kind of like didn't say anything that was at all controversial. So, but yeah. But you and I were talking about why that might be, and I thought it was because of cultural values. Like Asians are associated with sort of uh, like doing well in school, intelligence, and that's associated with sort of nerdiness, which has low attractiveness or social sort of value in school. And yeah, but you were saying, but we are talking about how you're maybe a little bit different than typical because you don't have a low preference for Asians, and maybe even higher than other races or than whites or something like that.
Yeah, it's in my experience. If I had to choose between Asian guy and a white guy, prefer an Asian guy. Um, but yeah, it's just
If
when I
you're, what if
was
you were thinking about me? I mean, that's sort of like a weird case, though. I mean, but it is interesting though. But yeah, please go ahead.
um yeah, it's just I think a lot of it, like we were kind of talking about before, it's just kind of exposure and just from since I was a child, just because of where I grew up at, like in Silicon Valley. It was just that was one of the majority demographics. So I just became very familiar with Asians like in school and things like that. So uh, yeah, I think that just influenced me from with my preferences.
Yeah, I think familiarity is related to what we were talking about before, like um, and you were saying also that you're sort of the family you grew up in looked highly on intelligence or education. It's
Hmm.
like as opposed to nerdiness, maybe people who do well in school are scholarly or intellectual or something, or
Yeah,
cultured or educated.
yeah. So like my family didn't really care about sports or anything like that. That in the mainstream is highly valued. Yeah, my mom in particular was just very she was just very focused on making sure we did well in school, and she went out of her way to teach us things like writing and such, like before I even went into kindergarten. So the expectations were pretty high already that we do well in school and it kind of have maybe like a better education and hopefully life than they had as immigrants.
Yeah, yeah. In your case, you're not maybe typical American, although it's not that atypical to be from an immigrant family.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that's also maybe different in that you're raised to see education not the same as maybe other people in the culture, but more like practically as like a way up.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, my mom, like she didn't complete, I think, past maybe fifth grade or sometime or in some middle school level. Like she didn't complete education past that. Um, so yeah, she just didn't doesn't want the same for us, obviously. And I think in with Asians, like a lot of them are like recent immigrants too. So I think it's maybe like a similar mentality.
What you're saying, you might be attracted to them because they have a similar mentality to yours, or you're just saying,
Um, Not just because of that, but I think maybe just one of maybe the many factors that might kind of subconsciously influence me when it comes to
yeah,
preferences.
yeah,
Since I was thinking maybe of just general values too. So like they're very more communal people, like Hispanics are. Uh and then like recent immigrants, so they kind of view education similarly, at least like my family did. Um and be like like family oriented, things like that.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So you might, would that make you more attracted to someone or just more likely to sort of be open to looking at someone in a not disinterested way or something? And then that opens the door for attraction or something. I mean, how does that psychology work?
Mhm. Yeah, I haven't thought about it that much, but I think maybe I would be just more open. Uh, I don't know if maybe like in my mind, maybe I might have some distance or something from white people because maybe in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, they're not like family oriented or something like that. Um, so maybe there's something to it. I haven't thought about it much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how cultural sort of values get transmitted between individuals that haven't known each other. Like
Mm.
they're judging each other. Like, are you like me in how much, you know?
Yeah, yeah, because like where I did grow up, there was just a lot of white people too, but I kind of felt more of a distance or something, or kind of more closed offness, which is kind of interesting. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I'd wonder why that was.
yeah,
Yeah, now I'm wondering about your experience being part Asian. Like, do you feel that influence your dating in like a positive or a negative way ever?
positive or negative. Oh,
Yeah.
you mean like what people are attracted to me or something?
Yeah, like kind
Or
of like what you're
how
talking
many?
about in the lecture.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think so. Yeah, it's almost never been a factor. It's to where like I watched the lecture a couple hours ago and I can't, nothing's occurred to me at all that's happened in my life. Obviously, I lived in Korea for a few years and I was viewed as a foreigner, but that's not necessarily a negative for attraction. Um, but yeah, in my life, like I haven't really noticed anything. I mean, maybe, you know, do I look Asian? Do I look white? Or am I ambiguous? Like it depends on ambiguous. It depends on the person. Some people think I'm totally one or the other, and some people think I'm half. Uh, and there seems like there's a substantial number of people who think think in each of those categories. And but I've never noticed. And I've lived in racially diverse areas too. I mean, maybe if I'd lived in a all white area or all of another race area, I would have noticed something. But I lived in a mostly black neighborhood once for like a year and a half. I mean, it was like racially black and white, the neighborhood, but almost all the kids were black. Um, but even then, like I can't really, I not even one experience occurs to me that
Mhm.
was affected by my race in terms of that. Other things like occur to me, but not in terms of dating or attraction or anything. So I can't help you on that one.
Mhm.
But yeah, maybe because it's like I'm ambiguous, so people can't turn on whatever uh programming they might have if they have any. So
Mhm.
but yeah, it is interesting to just think about like what people are attracted to and why. It's kind of, many things are happening at once whenever you have like an interaction with someone. So I just
Mhm.
like talking about those kinds of things. But is there anything else that occurs to you?
No, just want us kind of thinking on your response of feeling you haven't been affected too much. So just kind of a reminder that just because we have these statistics in the class doesn't mean it's like the end all, I guess.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I think that's very important. That's a good point. Yeah, statistics can tell. I mean, it's just like any other data, it requires interpretation. And that's a good discussion for understanding our society and people's experiences as a whole. But yeah, I think as a human being, you have to that's only part of the conversation. Then you have to step back or forward and think, you know, what my experience is and what I want it to be and how I'm going to interpret my own experience, what kind of story I'm going to tell. And it's important for that to be the best it can be, for you to be somewhat in control of your life and to try to elicit your own happiness and for it to be based on truth. It's not like this should be completely a fantasy, but yeah, and you want to monitor yourself and the kinds of things you're thinking, if that's leading to unhappiness or bitterness or resentment, or whether it's leaving open more the possibility for love and happiness. And yeah, and in terms of this specific topic, I mean, with relationships, you really only need one person out of however many million are in the country or thousands you could meet. But that's only going to happen if you don't act like a statistic and you act like the best version of yourself. Okay, well, try to be our best versions of ourselves this week.
mhm.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.